Hi, my name is Marc Soester. I'm the Executive Director of Sensei Project Solutions, and I wanted to introduce our new tool, Sensei Project Online Sync for Word, to you. So where does that all fit into the bigger picture? Well, let's have a quick look. So we are talking about Microsoft's PPM solutions within Office 365, in particular Project Online, and as such also SharePoint. In combination with more capabilities that Office 365 provides you, we want to make sure that information that is managed in Project and information that's managed in SharePoint can actually easily synchronize with Word. What was the problem to solve for us here? We often see that organizations need to write Word documentation for things like business cases. They require the flexibility of a Word document, but still want to retain information in Project Online and don't want to double handle the information when you maintain schedule data or risks or issues. So our solution to that was the synchronization of data in Project Online that is maintained into Word. So it means that you can very easily create a project, a document and a document template, and you can incorporate Project Online data so that the data is automatically synchronized. However, you can still retain all of the information in Word that you need to retain. A nice side effect of that is because we are using Word Online, and Word for Office 365, any kind of synchronization that you do or updating the documentation means that you have also a new document version within the SharePoint document library. So what kind of data can you synchronize with Word? Well, project fields within Project Online, so any kind of project level custom fields that you created, including lookup tables, calculated custom fields, or free text custom fields, plus of course all of the standard project level fields like baseline data, date and cost data, etc. Plus you have the ability to apply formatting to those fields in your Word document. Any kind of data you maintain in your schedule, in your MS Project schedule, so task fields that come out of the box, plus task fields, task level custom fields that you created. It allows you to filter the information, for example by milestone, and you also have the ability to sort by date or by name, etc. And lastly, you can then also import or synchronize your project site information. The standard lists like risks, issues and deliverables work, of course, but you can also synchronize any kind of custom list that you have created as part of your project, for example change requests or lessons learned, etc. You essentially can create those new lists within your project site. You create a view within those lists, and these views you can then synchronize with your Word document. Alright, let's have a quick look how that demonstration looks like. Okay, so we are now in Office 365 Project Online, and I have created a project which is marked under my name. Now I need to create that business case document, but before I do that I need to update information. So I drill into my project and I have the ability to maintain my description here, any kind of custom fields or attributes that I wanted to associate to my project, any kind of multi-line text, and of course that includes rich text capability as well, and all of the attributes that you can of course maintain within Project Online. At the same time I'm gonna save that. At the same time I want to make sure that I also maintain my project schedule, which builds my project cost, then my resource requirements and my work breakdown structure and milestones, etc. So in my schedule I now have the ability to look at that. I've created one from the initiation, planning, where my business case is right now, and as you can see I have a whole bunch of summary tasks and milestone tasks, and these are the milestone tasks that I would like to include in my business case. At the same time I need to make sure that I maintain my potential risks that for this particular project, or any kind of issues or even benefits that I want to assume for this particular project. So what I'll do is I'll go into a risk. I already created 2 risks here. I want to create a new risk, and I'm just going to use that and say not enough time to execute. Have the ability to utilize the normal project online capability, of course, to maintain your risks and issues and your due dates, etc. And I want to make sure that this data is all maintained also within the business case. This is an example risk. I save that data. Well, and now I want to create my business case. I want to add additional information to my business case. So as such, I go within my project side, I go into my document library, and here's my business case template that I created earlier. So what I can do is I can now simply open this, and it doesn't matter whether you open it in Word Online or in Word. I'm going to do that in Word Online for now so that you can see what it does. It now opens up the document. And this is nothing else but a Word document template. Now I do have a new button here which is called the Update from Project button, and what I do is I open this up, and what you can see here right now is actually the synchronization capability between Project Online and Word. So when I scroll down into this Word document, you can see there's my table of content, my problem statement and expected benefits, and my project attributes, and also just some text that I entered into the Word document, and here are also my risks. Now as you can see, there are at the moment only 2 risks in there, plus my program is Venus. I actually changed that, just going back into my project detail page quickly so that you can see that what data I have changed here. In my project details, I have the ability, I now change that from Venus to Mars. So going back into my document itself, all I need to do right now is I need to push that update button, and what it does now is it crawls through the information that I entered in my document, and that it of course includes any kind of information like problem statement, expected benefits, and also project level attributes that has now been updated, and plus of course it has incorporated my new risk. And I can see, oh, not enough time, enough was spelled wrong. So what I can do is very easily go back into my risk, of course, and I can amend that. I just simply say edit, and I can now say I would like to have this changed to enough, and this has now created the new one. I stop editing, I go back into my document, I re-update this information, and as you can see it now crawls again through the entire document and has now also updated my enough time. And look at that, I still made a mistake here. So as you can see, it does actually work perfectly fine. I now have the ability to amend that in here, and again just wanted to outline, by changing the information in Project Online, you can now very easily also change that in your Word document. Alright, so how does that all work, and how does that all hang together? Well, with the Project Online Sync for Word, you have the ability to determine what kind of information you would like to synchronize. Now, as you can see, I already have an existing project, a Word template here, and I want to incorporate now additional information. For example, project milestones. That should always be synchronized. So through this tool I have the ability now to insert information, and when I push the insert data, I can actually determine what kind of data that may be. Is that project level field, is a schedule related information, or is it SharePoint related information? And I will go through all of them in a second. In my first example, I want to make sure that my project milestones are displayed in my business case document. So I'm going to go and say I would like to have schedule data in here, and as part of that you can see every single field that you manage within your schedule. So one of them is of course the name, and I'm going to say I would like to display the name of the task, and I would like to display my start date of that particular task. And by now going to the next button, I have the ability to group to order the column. So I could, of course, if I wanted to see the start date before the name, I can just simply sort that forward. Obviously, I don't want to do that. I want to see my task names or my milestone names, and then my start date. However, how can I determine that this is actually going to be my milestone related information and not every single task? Well, this is where I add my filter to it, and within my filter I now have the ability to filter on any kind of field that that you have within MS Project. So in my instance is milestone, and you just have to type it in, and as you can see, the entire list of your task custom fields and task fields come about. I say is milestone equals to true, and I'm going to go to my next part. I could now sort that, and I could say, hey, I would like to have that sorted by my start date instead of my name, but in my instance I would like to keep that just as it is. I go next, and it says, okay, would you like me to insert that? I'm going to insert that now, and as you can see, what it does now is where you placed your cursor, in my instance under the milestone, it now incorporates that table with all of the data. And as you can see, these are now all of my project milestones and their start date. The beauty about all of that is you have, of course, full functionality capability within Word, so you can change your look and feel of the table, and that will also retain. So now that I've done that, I essentially incorporated all of my project milestones, my risks in it here. General considerations is just simply a text that I entered, where I can just enter information into my Word document. For example, ability, if you want to write that correctly, and add additional columns and additional fields or additional text. I would like to include text in my document, which is unique to this particular document. I literally now have created my document, my business case, with the information maintained in Project Online, plus of course all of the information that I will be retained that I created into that project, into that document. Alright, now because it saves, I am in Word Online, it saves that information automatically. When I now go back into my document library, you will actually see that in my version history I have every single synchronization version history in place. It's going to work on it. I practiced obviously a little bit beforehand, and as you can see, this was my initial document when I created it, and these are all of the different version histories that will retain all of the previous maintained data sets. Alright, now that we've seen how a document template can automatically be updated and can be used, I thought I'll show you how you can actually also create a document from scratch. And I want to make this clear, it's actually a business user who does that. So you don't need to have a technical resource or a developer or anything like that. You just simply have the ability, utilizing a very intuitive user interface, thanks to our solutions team, that allows you then to create a Word synchronization capability. So what I'll do is I'm going to open up a brand new Word document, and it's a blank document that I want to have. Again, it opens it up in Word Online. However, what I'll do this time, I'm going to edit that in Word, because I also want to show you that this capability is not just available in Word Online, but because it's an app, an add-on to Word, if you of course now edit this in Word itself, it opens up Word, it recognizes the location of course, and we'll open that up, and you will have exactly that same capability here in your Word document, in your Word itself as well. So what I'll do is I'm going to create a brand new document. I'm going to say I don't know, internal business case document. Here is the information for my project and I want to start putting my project name in there because I may want to utilize that document for a different project in the future. So what I'll do is I'm going to go into my insert button, and now I have the ability to insert any kind of custom field that I've maintained in my project. So in here it's actually my project name that I want to have included in here, and I can determine what kind of formatting you want to apply, whether this is a general, a text, or HTML, or date in time, and currency, number as a whole, or with 2 decimals. So you have the ability to pre-format that already. I'm going to keep that general. I'll insert that, and as you can see here, my document is now, my document is now updated with this particular specified field. If another user that isn't part of Project Online utilizes this document, then this document will of course be a very normal document. So it doesn't change the document at all. You can utilize it as a normal document. However, if you need to update and refresh the information, it needs to live, that document needs to live in the document library of that particular project. So the next part I want to do is I want to insert my list of risks. So in here I'm going to create another header, and I say my risks, my risks, and this time I'm going to insert that based on my SharePoint list. Now the SharePoint list is essentially all of the list items that I maintain within my project site. These are either custom list or out of the box lists. Out of the box list like issues and risks are of course maintained here, but as you can see I also have a benefit realization list here that I can incorporate as well. So what I want to do is I want to utilize my risks. I'm going to go and find that beautiful list here, risks, and I select that, and then I'm going to say next. By saying next, I will now be prompted with all of the views that have been set up for this particular list in Project Online in the project site. So what I'll do is I quickly showcase that. I go into my document, into my risks, and when I look at my risks here, these are all of the views that I can currently maintain through my online list. And when I check them out, these are exactly the views that I have now also in my list here. So I'm going to say I would like to display all active risks because I'm interested in only the active risks, and I'm going to say next, and I'm going to say, hey, I would like to insert that. And as you can see here, my list has now been updated accordingly. Now that also applies of course for any kind of information regarding your schedule. You already seen that, I've shown you that a little bit earlier. So this synchronization tool acts as the new automated capability for you to improve and evolve your productivity by ensuring that that you don't double handle information and that your document always stays up to date. Now you can of course spin that a little bit further. Imagine now you have a workflow associated to this document, and once you're in a position to finish off this particular document, you then have the ability of course to trigger on a workflow and do all of those wonderful things that you can do with Office 365. So I hope that was worth your while. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can easily contact us on our website, and the website, just go into senseiprojectsolutions.com.au, contact us, and we would love to hear from you if you are interested in this wonderful tool. Thank you very much.